Hello, Scorpio. Whoa, is it them too? I guess. Yeah. Okay. Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to your July soul session. I am Princess India if you're new, and if you're family, welcome back, my friend, and whatnot, or whatever. So, we're going to be looking at an overall energy as well as a challenge for you guys this month, and then we're getting into a more specific spread where we're going to be looking at what's going on with you guys for the month of July. I hope you've been well, Scorpio. I miss your face, my opposite sign, and whatnot, or whatever. But anywho, getting back to this. So your overall energy for the month of July, we have the 5 of Pentacles. This is challenged by, interesting, the Magician in the reverse, and that is Aries energy. So what is it looking like, Scorpio, for you all in the month of July? There's a desire to come out of the cold. It's more or less feeling kind of stuck, kind of downtrodden, down on your luck, more or less. But something I can tell you about this with your challenge being the Magician in the reverse, I don't know if you guys, I mean, that's kind of interesting for a Scorpio to perceive things that way, but life be happening, life be lifing. But it's more or less, I feel you have more power in this situation than you may want to admit, or more than you are aware of. There's a lot of tools, opportunities, resources that are at your disposal that you may potentially be overlooking with this Magician in the reverse. And with this 5 of Pentacles, the vibe I'm really getting from it is not that you're necessarily looking for someone to save you, but I feel it's almost like a justification. Like it's a thought like, I shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not my fault that I'm in this situation, or, if this person wouldn't have done XYZ, I wouldn't be in this situation. And it's kind of like literally what I'm seeing in my mind's eye is like somebody being like, you know what I mean? Like kind of being, frustrated and pouty. And even though like you have the opportunity to pick yourself up by the bootstraps, it's almost like feeling wronged for you being where it is that you are, if I could say it that way. So it's kind of like, and I use this example a lot, of it's like, because I use the Mississippi River because I live in New Orleans, but it's like, you're walking on the moonwalk. It's what they call like the little Riverview area, and somebody trips you, and you fall in the Mississippi River, right? And now you're in the river. It's not your fault. You didn't ask to be tripped. You didn't tell anyone to do that. You know what I mean? You didn't ask for it. Like none of those things. It's just this person randomly decides to trip you and you fall into the river. Well, even though it's another person's fault that you're there, you have the choice to either, attempt to swim to shore or call for help, or you could just sit there and drown, you know what I mean? Because it's not fair and it's not your fault that you ended up there. So it's about like kind of what you decide to do with that situation. And the lesson in that is the fact that in life, there's, challenges, consequences, problems, situations, circumstances that we end up in because of poor choices that we made. But sometimes in life, we end up in less than stellar situations by someone else, right? So other people can create problems for us. However, at the end of the day, when we're on the receiving end of it, we still end up being the one that has to solve the problem. Is it fair that that person, tripped you and now you're in the river? No, it isn't fair. But sometimes other people create problems and we're the ones to solve it. That's just, a nasty fact of life. And I feel that's kind of the situation that Scorpio is in. It's like, you may not have done anything to get here, but it's feeling like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for this person to do this to me. And it's like, I'm here, and it's wanting, like, and that's where I say that wanting to be rescued kind of vibe. What the heck? Is that a fly? Ah, that's a fly. Gross. Ew. Sorry, guys. Fly just made an appearance. Is that like, you guys are gonna have to Google that. I'm gonna Google it after this, but I'm doing your reading, so I can't do it right now. Is that like an omen? Like, what does a fly represent? Let me know in the comments. Okay, but anyway, but that's the vibe that I kind of get. Not saying that you're like, suffering from learned helplessness or something like that, but it's just the fact that you have a right to feel that way, because I don't feel this is necessarily something that you may have done, but it's feeling like you should not have to do all of this to get yourself out when someone else did this to you. But I feel why this is kind of coming up is because if you're waiting for someone to come to kind of change the situation or, apologize to right their wrong, I don't feel like that's coming. And I feel like it would be to your own detriment to sit and kind of wait for that, if that's making sense. Okay. I hope and pray that makes sense. Now, getting into your more specific spread, your central energy that's representing you all this month. Wow. That came out for, who did I do before you? Aries. That was in their past influence. We have the Page of Wands. Your past influence is the Six of Cuppies in the reverse. Your hidden influence is the Ace of Cuppies in the reverse. I feel this. Your potential outcome, wow, is the Three of Pentacles in the reverse. This is interesting. And what to look out for moving forward is the Fool. That's Aries energy. Y'all got two Aries cards. If y'all got Aries in your chart, or this has something to do with an Aries, y'all might want to check out the Aries reading. So, okay, Scorpio, looking at our past influence coming into where it is that we are now, having the Six of Cups in the reverse, this is very similar to Aries. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all definitely might want to check that reading out, even if you don't have Aries in your chart. But anywho, with the Six of Cups in the reverse, it's something that transpired in the past. I feel like this has to do with someone from your past, whether this is, friends, family, a romantic partner, what have you. But there's something that transpired past tense, much like I was saying in our overall energy. There's something that happened that left like a bad taste in your mouth, right? It's something that you were on the receiving end of that wasn't necessarily in your favor. You weren't a fan of it. But I feel like, and this is something I do know, something that Scorpio has in common with Taurus is holding grudges in a sense. So I feel like this thing left a bad taste in your mouth, and I don't feel like you guys are really over this. You know what I mean? I feel like it's something you have a tendency to, not saying that you think about it all day every day, but you have a tendency to kind of ruminate on this when you're triggered or something kind of reminds you of it. Some of you guys may not even be aware of this, but to give you some little insight, if you want to know if you're triggered, if you find yourself, in conversation, watching a YouTube video, watching a movie, and you see a person, partake in a particular type of behavior, and you start to get this feeling of like anger or rage or like being infuriated and kind of going off on a whole rant about it, that's a good way to tell if, you're triggered by something, but it's kind of like something that's kind of out of your conscious mind. You know what I mean? And an easy example of this is like with cheating. Like if there's a woman, when she was married, her husband cheated on her with, I don't know, like the secretary or something. So like this young girl, right? And I don't know, say she had like long red hair, I don't know, right? So whenever she watches movies or hears stories about like a young girl dealing with a married man, like she just gets enraged, right? That's a sign of her being triggered from a wound that she experiences, and she starts to project her experience onto other people. Like, how could a woman do that? But what she's really saying is like, how could this woman do that to me? You knew I love my husband. Why would you interfere with the marriage? All the things, right? So that's a way to kind of tell. But I feel of late, like looking at like the latter part of June into the early part of July, I feel whatever this disappointment is, I feel like it's been on your mind pretty heavy up until this present point. And it could potentially be from you guys being triggered. It could be because Saturn's in retrograde, right? But whatever the case, it's been very heavy on you guys' mind as of late. And I feel like it feels to me like as I'm feeling like a sensation all in my heart area. And I want to kind of bite my lip. So it's like I'm feeling tension here. And ew, and almost like I am so mad at this. That's what I get for leaving my door open, bringing in groceries. Anyway, but I feel like that kind of vibe. You know what I mean? And that's like to me like a a resentment and just like clenched fist kind of vibe. But at the same time, with feeling the heart tension, I know that like that anger is coming from a place of like hurt. You know what I'm saying? But much like I was saying for Aries, sorry if you don't like Aries or something, because I know certain signs be like, stop talking about that other sign. I'm sorry. If you have a thing against Aries, I apologize. Aries energy all up in here. But anyway, but getting to your central energy that's representing you guys with the Page of Wands, what the call is for you guys to walk away from this. So I really feel what would be beneficial for you guys is to kind of leave this in the past. There's a need to come to some sense of resolution. And I feel that that's very possible for you guys, with this Magician in the reverse being your challenge. It's more or less like this thing still has power and dominion over you because you're allowing it to, because you have not come to a place of resolution about this. So your past is still very much a part of your present, right? Now, with your hidden influence being the Ace of Cups in the reverse, that's just kind of giving me additional information that it would behoove you, I'll say it that way, to come to a place of acceptance, because that's really what the problem is here, Scorpio. The reason why this is kind of wreaking havoc in your life at present is because you haven't come to a place of acceptance about what it is that has happened. It's kind of still hitting the wall at, this is wrong, this shouldn't have happened, why me, how could someone do that, like that's so messed up, and that was so selfish, and I did so much for them, I never did anything. It's like kind of hitting the wall with that, but not allowing yourself to come to a place of acceptance that whatever this particular thing is that we're talking about, it didn't pan out the way that you hoped it would. And I feel that's really what the root of the issue is here with this Ace of Cups in the reverse. This is something that had a lot of promise for you. This is something that you may have very much put your heart into. This is something that you saw panning out into something, magnanimous in the foreseeable future, but it didn't pan out that way. And I feel like this is kind of like double-edged, in the sense that on one side, it's being upset with yourself at the fact that you believed, or that you allowed yourself to believe. And what I'm hearing is how you're seeing it is that, like, I let myself fall for this. Like, how could I be so foolish to fall for that? You know what I mean? Or, let this person mislead me, or whatever the case. So there's one part of that, but then the other side, it's like just sheer disappointment of whatever you had, like the proverbial 10 of cups that you had envisioned in the future, that not coming to pass. You know what I mean? So it's like a sense of grief, if you will. And I mean, I could see this playing out, even though, soul sessions are more or less, personal development. But I think an easy example to make this make sense would be like a love relationship. You know what I mean? It's like having a high school sweetheart, loving the person, getting married, and seeing yourself spending the rest of your life with this person, and this person one day waking up and saying, I don't love you anymore. You know what I mean? And trying to pick up your life from there. Like, that's the distraughtness that I feel of, like, this is wrong. I shouldn't be here. I didn't do anything to you. Like, how could you do this type of thing? You know what I mean? Child, look. I don't know what to do with that. What I just heard in my head, child, I don't know what to do with that. I'm hoping and praying that no Scorpio is thinking about this. But what I just heard in my head, y'all, I just heard Betty Broderick. I don't know if Betty Broderick is a Scorpio. I don't know. If you don't know who Betty Broderick is, Google her. And you will understand why I am so flustered right now. Hashtag no Betty Broderick. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But if I could use her as an example, if you want a little entertainment, there's a Dirty John that's about Betty Broderick. There's a Lifetime movie, I think, that came out like in the 90s, I think. And I think that one's on YouTube. I think it's like called A Woman Scorned or something like that. But if I could use her as an example, my guides are awesome. If I could use her as an example, that buildup of bitterness and resentment and that feeling of being jilted. Not so much what she did with that. Let's let that be a cautionary tale. But everything that led up to what it is that she did, that's kind of the vibe that I'm feeling. Do I feel that Scorpio is that far? No, I don't think that y'all there yet. But it's like seeing that buildup of that resentment and what it did to her and how it morphed her as a person. That's very much what it is that I'm seeing of what this could turn into if Scorpio were to continue this pathway. That's why I feel with this Page of Wands showing up representing you guys, it's showing you that you have an opportunity to take another path. I feel if you guys were to stay in this energy, hopefully not turning out all the way how that story ended, but it would just progressively get worse until it kind of destroys you on the inside, right? Now, and I say that even more so because of what this potential outcome being the Three of Pentacles in the reverse. That's a very solitary energy. It's like developing the mentality, like, you know, by myself in jail, no pillowcase, ain't nobody write me. It's like having this mentality of it's just me by myself. I don't have anyone. I don't have any support. I'm going through all of this. No one cares. There's no one here supporting me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And having that perspective, and that starts to bleed into everything to where you're not necessarily seeing things as they are. It's like when we have our mindset on, like, you know, the pessimism, like the glass being half full, we start to see the entire world through that lens. You know what I'm saying? And this is about you guys shifting that perspective, because whatever we're looking out, you know, like where we're standing from, what we're looking out into the world to see, that confirmation bias, right? Like that's a whole psych theory. With confirmation bias, it's like what it is that we're looking for, right? Even though if we're not consciously saying we're looking for that, if we're in a pessimistic, you know, mindset, then we're going to see everything from that pessimistic mindset. It's like the concept of if you're looking for your friend to pick you up who's driving a white car, now suddenly you're seeing white cars everywhere. You know what I mean? It's like a mental game that we play on ourselves. So the potential outcome could be, and I feel that saying the progression of like this resentment, that you guys could come out of the month of July going into August, like starting to isolate yourself from people to where you're not getting, you know, alternative opinions, or you're not opening up with what you're going through, because it potentially can feel like you're by yourself. And I said a very similar thing to Aries. It's like when we go through things, and I heard someone say this before, of like, you know, like some people don't keep in contact or call me. And then like the person was asked like, well, do you keep in contact and call people? And it's like, well, no, I be dodging people's phone calls. And it's like, so why are you expecting people to constantly keep in contact with you? But that's another Jedi mind trick that we play on ourselves. It's like a lot of times we can be kind of self-righteous and perch ourselves up on things and say should oughts and supposed tos to everyone else of how people should behave, but we're not always coming back and fact checking our own behaviors and not seeing how it is we can be contributing to how other people are responding to us, right? Something as simple as like, you know, when you come into work every morning, everybody at your job tells each other good morning. You're the one person who doesn't say, you know, good morning ever, right? And then, you know, one you come to work and you're feeling super good and you tell a person good morning and they just kind of look at you confused and you're like, oh my God, what's their problem? Like they have an attitude. And it's like, you don't ever really speak to people, so it's throwing them off. Like, why are they speaking to me? Like, what's going on here? They don't talk to nobody. You feel what I'm saying? So a lot of times we're not necessarily thinking about that bigger picture and seeing like that exchange that's happening between how we're showing up. But that confirmation bias says like, oh, I knew they didn't like me. I hope and pray that that's making sense, right? In that particular situation, it's like, oh, I knew that they didn't like me. You know what I mean? Or I knew none of my friends would be here, not taking into account that, you know, your friends and you never hang out on the weekends, and now it's one random weekend you want to hang out, and it's like, oh, see, I knew that they weren't there for me. But we're not taking into account that that's not a thing for you. They're not used to you calling and wanting to hang out or wanting to talk. You know what I'm saying? I hope and pray that that's making sense and I'm explaining that well. But anywho, what to look out for moving forward is the Fool card. And I feel these two cards are like literally married, right? Because there's an opportunity for you to elect to start a new path, like to take different actions in an opposing direction from where it is that you are now. And this is like an opportunity to like have a fresh start in so many words, right? So I would say, much like I said for Aries, I don't know what the connection is between Scorpio and Aries, but much like how I said for Aries, this is kind of like a divine timing type of thing. Like this is something where spirit is giving you a get out of jail free card. And this is like an energetic shift. And how I've been seeing it, like the analogy I've been using a lot this month, is I'm seeing it like a train. It's like you're on the platform, you're waiting for this train. And I feel everyone's been waiting for this train for a long time. And this is the train that gets you to the destination of all of the things that you wanted. But I feel there's so many things that are coming up that are distracting people from waiting for this train. And everyone's walking off of the platform. You know what I'm saying? Walking off of the platform and potentially missing the train. And what I feel with this, and this is just like what it is I've been picking up intuitively for you guys now and for a lot of other signs. This is almost like, and I don't want to sound too sci-fi, but it feels to me almost like a portal or like a time jump type of vibe, right? To where you could fast track your recovery, you could fast track like your purpose, like where it is that you want to go in life if you hop on this proverbial train. But much like I say with the is not is paradigm, there's always going to be an antithesis energy. So I feel the antithesis energy for all of us, and I've been saying this since May, it's literally ourselves. It's like our own demons that are coming up, our own pessimism that's preventing us from seeing the opportunity that's in front of us. And this is literally like a God-given opportunity. And I stress that for you guys, Scorpio, because like I said, with the Fool, this is a fresh start. If your energy aligns with this Fool energy by staying in this Page of Wands and electing to leave whatever this is, like whatever this slight is, or, you know, this betrayal, whatever, behind you, right? And coming to like a place of acceptance about it. Because I mean, not just like flipping a light switch and just like saying, oh, okay, I accept that it happened. Like, nah, like true radical acceptance. Google that term, put it in radical acceptance and put DBT behind it. And you'll learn some stuff about radical acceptance. Because true radical acceptance is not about having a resolution. You can have, you know, contradictory information. You know what I mean? And it's still accepting like this is what it is. Is it fair? No. Is it right? No. Am I going to get, you know, is that person going to get their karma? Am I going to be, you know, justified? None of that matters. It's like, it's just accepting that this is what it is. And it's not behooving me to hold on to it. And I need to move forward. You know what I mean? Even with those conflicting ideals, because it's still very much a possibility to have those conflicting things and to move forward. But how it is we're moving forward with it is by accepting that freedom of living life moment to moment. You know what I mean? Like I find, and I'm not going to lecture you because I'm glad that, you know, I'm finished with your reading, which I'm wrapping now, and I'm hoping my computer doesn't go out. I'm really excited that because it usually goes out like right at the end. But anyway, but I feel the biggest struggle of mankind at large is the fact that we're trying to put periods at the end of the sentence where there needs to be semicolons. And that's life at large, right? We want to make judgments about things because judgments make us feel safe. We want to say that person's bad, they're evil, and now they're being punished, or they were wrong, I was right. You know what I mean? Because having that period at the end of the sentence gives us a level of comfort, but that level of comfort is a false sense of security. The truth of the matter is life is haphazard, chaotic, crazy, nothing's guaranteed. And the most peaceful way to exist is moment to moment, which is living a life of mindfulness, like being mindfully present of this moment. It's fine to have plans for the future, but it's also knowing that with the plans that we have for the future, that things are subject to change. But the thing that I found with all of these soul sessions up into you guys is so many of us have constructed towers, which are strongholds in our mind, to try to protect ourselves from feeling less than stellar things. And we're completely offsetting our life path, and we're ending up in way worse situations. In some instances, maintaining who it is that you are and getting betrayed by a friend or something is better than locking yourself up in this tower and not interacting with people or fulfilling your purpose or existing with the fullness of who you are. You know what I'm saying? It's like all of this to me is speaking to coming back to the truth of us and coming back to vulnerability in spite of what has happened. But what it looks like is most of us are existing as and showing up in the world as the scars that we bear. It's like we have become the betrayals and the disappointments and the heartbreaks that we have experienced. And that's where that energy signature is off, where this full energy could come in and not recognize one as they stand today, because one is a walking scab. It's like we have become the pain that we have endured and what we've experienced. Yet we're saying this is how I'm protecting myself, but we are no longer ourself. You know what I mean? We have become the hurt and the pain. And that's why I say, dude, this is really weird for me to be saying this. My guide said Betty Broderick. I mean, I would strongly suggest, whether you guys watch Dirty John or watch, the movie about it, I'll probably put the links to those below. I really think that's a great story to illustrate what, being screwed over does to people and how it can morph you into a totally different person. And I mean, if you guys want to talk about it, I think that would be cool. If we had a little chit chat about it, like a little call-in show where we discuss it. You know what I'm saying? If y'all are about that life, then let me know in the it's damn fly. Jesus Christ. Anyway, but let me know in the comments below if you guys want to do something like that, because I feel that that's like a really great, example of what it is that I'm seeing here. You know what I mean? But let me know what you guys think in the comments, Scorpio. I love your freaking faces. You know what I'm saying? That's been your soul session for July. My best advice, Scorpio, is, recognize what it is that you've been through, acknowledge it, start working towards acceptance, and don't miss out on this opportunity to turn the tables in your favor. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I love your face, Scorpio, and I will see you guys sooner